This is the reason why I have said multiple times that the nursing home is dangerous, not only for patients, but also for nurses. It's dangerous. What is up, everyone? Welcome back to my channel. My name is Laurie. If you are new here, I am a family nurse practitioner, and in today's video I'm gonna talk about the Christann Gainey story. If you guys are new to my channel, I was a nurse practitioner in a nursing home setting for 3 years, and this is the reason why I wanted to talk about this case, because the events that happened took place in a nursing home type setting. I'm gonna catch you guys up to speed if you don't know the backstory about what's going on, and then I'm gonna give you guys my 2 cents about this case. If you see me kind of looking down on my screen, it's because I'm kind of reading off the news article, and I also put it on the side of the screen. So it says that a former nurse at Philadelphia Senior Care Facility has pleaded guilty to misdemeanor neglect of a care dependent person, tampering with records in the 2018 death of the father of former Trump National Security Advisor H.R. McMaster. You know, I don't even know why they threw that in there, that he's the father of former Trump advisor. And I think one of the reasons why that was thrown in there as well is because this patient was deemed probably a VIP patient. And I put VIP in quotations because if you're a nurse or you work in the hospital or the nursing home, you get like nurse managers and administrators all the time come to you when there's kind of like the executive parents is coming, and they kind of want you to go above and beyond for that patient, when in truth and in fact all patients are VIP patient. And I used to hate when they did that, because I'm like, I'm gonna take care of my patient all the same. Like, I'm not gonna give you better care because you are a celebrity or somebody, you know, whatever. I'm supposed to strive to care for all my patients like they are VIPs. Let's continue. So it goes on to say that Christann Gainey had pleaded guilty in a Monday court. Gainey had initially been charged with additional counts of felony neglect and involuntary manslaughter, which were dropped as part of her plea deal. The Attorney General's office sentenced her to 6 months under house arrest with another 4 years of probation, and Gainey will also be barred from seeking reinstatement of her license or working in a care facility during that time. So I don't know if she can go back and get her license, because they said during that time. I don't know. Here are the events that led up to why she was charged and what happened. So on April 9th, McMaster was admitted to the Cathedral Village Rehabilitation Program after he suffered a stroke. And on April 12th, he was transferred to the senior living facility. Now, because I worked in a nursing home setting, a lot of times when patients have a stroke or they had surgery, they go to nursing home / rehab. And after their rehab is completed, a lot of times the provider, myself, or even physical therapy will say, you know, they don't think this patient should go home by themselves. I don't know if this man lived by himself or whatever, or the family would say that we need them to have more extra care. So I'm pretty sure probably that's what happened, and they transferred him to the senior living facility so he can have care staff there looking after him. Now, they said that around 11:30 p.m., a staff member from the facility found McMaster on the floor in his room, and his fall was unwitnessed. On April 13th, just after 7 a.m., McMaster was found deceased in his wheelchair in the facility's lobby. McMaster died from brain bleed, which is a subdural hematoma. Those are the events that led up to this. However, this patient actually had 5 falls in the 4 days that he was there. So the patient is continuously falling. Christann Gainey was the nurse assigned to the unit. Now, if you work in a nursing home, senior living facility, you know that one nurse can have up to 50 patients. This nurse had 37 patients that she was supposed to be caring for. We're going to revisit that in a minute. 37 patients that she is supposed to be caring for throughout her 12-hour shift. She was a licensed practical nurse, and I think the reports also said that she was not a staff nurse. I think she was like a agency nurse that was working that night. After the patient fell, all that time, I'm pretty sure that once a patient fall, you are supposed to do what we call neurological exam and neurological check on these patients. We're going to revisit that as well when it comes to neurochecks in the nursing homes. That was ordered, and she never did any neurochecks on that patient. And she lied and charted, like she went back and back charted that she did those neurochecks. One of the hour that she even recorded that she did a neurocheck, the patient was already deceased. I guess when they came to her and was asking all these questions, she said, yes, I did do the neurocheck, here it go, right? And then they went investigated and looked at surveillance footage and realized that this nurse was no way near where the patient is supposed to be, and she missed like 8 neurochecks on the patients. Now let's talk about what neurochecks is. Every 15 minutes in that first hour after the patient fall, you are supposed to check on the patient. That means vital signs, mental status, you need to check their pupil, you need to check their motor function, you need to check their refluxes. Every 15 minutes for the first hour, and then every hour for the next 3 hours, and then every 2 hours for the next 4 hours, and every 4 hours for the next 16 hours, and every 8 hours for the next 48 hours. This is proper neurological exam. Is this being done in a nursing home or any of these facilities? No. And I'm going to tell you because I was a provider in a nursing home setting, and I have ordered neurochecks on patients before. I know for a fact they don't do it. The first 15 minutes, maybe, depending on the nurse. But I'm going to tell you right now, most of the times when you order neurochecks on patients in these facilities, they're not really being done. One of the things is nurses are totally understaffed in these facilities. That's number one, understaffed. This is the reason why I have said multiple times that the nursing home is dangerous, not only for patients, but also for nurses. It's dangerous because think about you having 37 patients and this happened to this patient. And you have to be there every 15 minutes to kind of check on the patient. And then not just check on the patient, because nurses will just go in there and say, hey, are you okay? And they're not truly doing the neurochecks like I listed. Neurochecks. You're not doing the pupil check. You're not doing the blood pressure. You're not doing any of that to see what is really going on with the patient. And they just walk in there and say, hey, how are you? Are you doing okay? I have seen it with my own 2 eyes when I have ordered neurochecks on a patient. Now, having said all of that, she had 37 patients and she probably was overwhelmed. Nurses, you need to be very careful, because not only are your license in jeopardy, your life is also in jeopardy, because they're prosecuting you and you are going to go to jail. Now, she got a plea deal where she's just under house arrest, and it worked out that way for her, that she's under house arrest. She finally fessed up and told the truth about what happened. Now, should the nurse alone be at fault? Absolutely not. The administrators should be at fault. The DON should be at fault. All of these people should collectively be at fault. And I'm going to tell you why. Because I worked in a nursing home setting, and another reason why I was trying to get the heck up out of there is because anytime you try to say send your patient to the hospital or try to order certain things, they give you so much pushback on the fact that they don't have staff. So this patient fell 5 times in 4 days. Why wasn't the patient assigned a one-to-one, like a CNA or somebody to stay with the patient. More than likely, they had no staff for that. So the patient should be a one-on-one, because in the nursing home setting, they don't have bed alarms on their beds at the hospital. So if the patient is getting out of bed, you hear the bed alarm, you go to the room and, do that. So that patient is a high risk for fall, right? Total high risk for fall. So I'm pretty sure in their meetings, because they have 50 million meetings in these nursing homes, they don't know what I'm talking about, because what you're putting in action for what's truly going on out here. Why wasn't that put in place? Like, listen, we truly need this patient to be a one-to-one, because they're going to know that the patient fell. Falling is a big deal. It's a big deal in the hospital. It's a big deal in a nursing home, because they don't get their money. They don't get their reimbursement. And honey, it's all about money for these people, right? It's all about money for these people. Are they going to get in trouble? Is the entire facility going to get in trouble, and administrator and likely the director of nursing? Because did the director of nursing put her foot down and say, no, this patient really needs to have a one-to-one, and document it somewhere that I asked for this and I was not given this? And when I tell you, when I worked in the nursing home, they used to always try to get me to change my documentation for things. And I'm like, no, I ain't changing that, because this is what I recommended and you guys are giving me pushback. And if something happens, y'all ain't gonna call me. Nobody gonna call me and make me testify nowhere, okay? So I do believe that this nurse, that's definitely neglect, because you are in a position where you are supposed to be doing at least a couple of these neurochecks. She missed a total of 8 of them. So yes, that's negligent and she should be held accountable. But what about the other people? Like all these folks that didn't put anything in place. So this nurse with 37 patients, and she has a patient that's falling all the time, how is she going to physically be with that patient that's falling all the time, and then whatever else is going on with the other 36 patients that she is supposed to be caring for? Like, when I tell you, when I heard this story, it sent chills down my body, because number one, I know what kind of shit fest the nursing home is. Total shit fest. I've said it multiple times on my channel that the nursing home is a mess. I've ordered Neurochecks on a patient before, and the nurse did not know how to effectively do Neurochecks. Like, she did not know really what the Neurocheck's supposed to be entail. And I'm telling you, they just go in there and say, okay, I'm checking the blood pressure, are you okay, and walk out. Like, it's more than just that. It's more than just that. And if you're not putting nurses in positions to effectively and safely care for these patients, you are doing them a disservice. And nurses, if you are in this position and you feel like, you know what, I'm not comfortable with this, you really need to try to exit that. You really need to try to get out of that. This is so sad. It's so sad, because at the end of the day, this story is bigger than just Christann Gainey. We need to fix the head, because if the head is stink, everything on the bottom stink. So we need better legislation for how many patients can one nurse effectively care for. If they are going to do it on the acuity of the patient, there's no way that patient with that acuity should have been in the realm of the 36 that she had, 37 patients, I'm sorry, that she had to care for that day. There's just no way. Like, that patient is a higher acuity, because you have to be doing all those checks on him. Like, that is absolutely ridiculous. Be careful, nurses. Be very careful. Man, because I was a provider in this setting and I've ordered certain things on patients, and nurses would just say, some of them would just, whatever, I'm not doing that, that's too much, whatever, that's too much. I've had nurses legit say that to me in my face. I don't know why you're ordering that, because that's not going to be done, that's too much, you know, we're not staffed for that. And then I would tell the DON, well, your nurse said you ain't staffed for that. You need to send this patient to the hospital, because if you're not staffed for that and something happened to the patient up in here, guess who they're not going to call to blame? Because I am ordering all of this. You know what I mean? That is my 2 cents on this case. Let me know what your thoughts are down below. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. And I will definitely talk with you guys in the next video. Bye.